A government wakes up one morning, deeply in debt, facing rising prices, angry citizens, and instead of cutting spending or raising taxes, it does something almost magical. It creates money. Not metaphorically, not slowly. Instantly. Numbers appear on a screen. Billions, sometimes trillions, out of nothing. And for a moment, everything feels fine. Until it doesn't. Because printing money isn't what most people think it is. There are no trucks full of cash rolling out of buildings, no giant machines flooding the streets with fresh bills. What actually happens is quieter, more technical, and far more dangerous. Right now, this matters more than ever, because over the past decade, and especially after 2020, countries around the world have created more money, faster than at almost any time in modern history. The question isn't whether money was printed. The real question is, where did it go? And who paid for it? Let's start with the basic idea most people have. When people hear printing money, they imagine a government literally producing cash and spending it, like a shortcut around hard choices. That's not completely wrong, but it's not how it works today. Modern money creation happens through central banks. Think of them as the system's control center. In the US, it's the Federal Reserve. In the UK, the Bank of England. Every major economy has one. And when a government needs to spend more than it collects in taxes, it usually borrows. It issues bonds. Basically, I owe us. Investors buy those bonds. Pension funds, banks, institutions. In exchange, the government promises to pay them back later, with interest. So far, nothing unusual. But here's where the system quietly bends reality. Sometimes, there aren't enough buyers. Or interest rates start rising too fast. Or the economy looks like it might stall. That's when the central bank steps in. It buys those government bonds, with money that didn't exist before. No printing press, no physical cash, just a digital entry, a balance increase, new reserves added into the banking system. This is what people mean when they say money printing, and it sounds almost harmless. After all, the government gets the money it needs. Markets stay stable. Interest rates stay low. Crisis avoided. But this is where things get uncomfortable, because that new money doesn't spread evenly. It doesn't land in everyone's bank account at the same time. It enters the system through very specific channels. Banks, financial markets, large institutions. The first people to touch that money are the ones closest to the system, and they get to use it before prices adjust. They buy assets, stocks, real estate, bonds. Prices start rising. By the time that money trickles down to everyone else, through wages, jobs, or spending, something has already changed. Everything costs more. This is one of the least talked about effects of money creation. It quietly redistributes wealth, not through taxes, not through laws, but through timing. Those who receive the money first benefit. Those who receive it last pay for it. Now let's go one layer deeper. Why doesn't this always cause immediate inflation? Why didn't prices explode the moment trillions were created? Because money isn't just about how much exists. It's about how fast it moves. If people save it, invest it, or park it in assets, it doesn't immediately push up everyday prices. That's why, for years after the 2008 financial crisis, central banks created massive amounts of money, and inflation stayed relatively low. But something changed recently. After 2020, governments didn't just inject money into financial systems. They sent it directly to people. Stimulus checks, business support, emergency programs. At the same time, supply chains broke, production slowed, goods became harder to produce and transport. So now you had more money, chasing fewer goods. That's when inflation finally showed up in a way people could feel. Groceries, rent, fuel, everything. And suddenly, the phrase printing money didn't sound abstract anymore. It felt personal. But here's the part most explanations skip. Money printing is not inherently reckless. In fact, sometimes it's necessary. During a crisis, if governments don't step in, economies can collapse. Businesses fail. Jobs disappear. Entire systems freeze. Creating money can stabilize things. It can buy time. The real issue isn't that money is created. It's how long the system relies on it, and how hard it becomes to stop. Because once an economy gets used to easy money, pulling it away is painful. Interest rates rise. Debt becomes more expensive. Asset prices fall. And suddenly, all the stability that money creation provided starts to reverse. This is where central banks face a strange dilemma. If they keep creating money, inflation can spiral. If they stop, the system can slow down sharply, or even break. So they try to balance it. Raise rates slowly. Reduce money supply carefully. But the system is massive, complex, delayed. Decisions made today might take months or years to fully play out. And by the time the effects are visible, it's often too late to adjust cleanly. Now, zoom out. What you have is a global system where money can be created in seconds, but the consequences unfold over years. Where governments can avoid short-term pain by pushing long-term pressure into the future. Where wealth doesn't just depend on how hard you work, but on where you sit in the flow of money. And where stability is often maintained, not by solving problems, but by delaying them. So when someone says, "Why don't we just print more money?" they're not asking a simple question. They're asking who should benefit first, and who should quietly absorb the cost later. Because the system doesn't destroy that cost. It moves it. Across time, across people, across entire economies. And maybe the most unsettling part is this. The system can keep going like this for a long time. Long enough that it starts to feel normal. Until one day, something breaks the pattern. Confidence shifts, prices move too fast, or the balancing act fails. And suddenly, the question isn't how money is created. It's whether people still believe in it at all. Because at the end of everything, bonds, banks, central reserves, money only works if people trust it. And once that trust starts to crack, can any system really print enough to hold it together?